Okay, I'm finally getting around to posting my response to Lazerrus 1980s thread, one album from each year, from 80 to 89. I want to try to keep it metal, or metal as I can, because that was a good time for metal, especially the early 80s. So I'm going to start with this album right here. Not as my first pick, but this introduced me to my first two picks, Saxon and Riot. Never heard of those bands before buying this live album. I was impressed enough to actually go out and buy some Saxon. And I grew up in a really small town, and albums were hard to come by, I guess. You just didn't get a chance to go to the city that often, So I bought Saxon. Well, I actually bought this one first. Wheels of Steel. For the longest time, I actually didn't know which album came out first. Because both of these albums came out in 1980. So for my first pick, it's Saxon, and you're getting a twofer because two albums came out in 1 year. And man, this is a great classic album here. Strong Arm of the Law. I mean, it's just great stuff here. I really enjoyed Saxon. I was a big fan. They came out at about the same time as Iron Maiden, and they were almost kind of running nose and nose at the time. I think Iron Maiden has and always had a little bit better songs. I mean, Iron Maiden's best songs are definitely better than Saxon's best songs. But as a body of work, I think Saxon is really gaining on Iron Maiden right now, just for the fact that Saxon keeps putting out new material. The last Saxon album I bought back in the day, I think it came out in '84, was The Crusader. I love that album, but I never did buy any other albums from Saxon after then. I guess times were changing and everything. So I just kind of dismissed them until about a year ago when I bought this album. I just want to kind of throw this in as a little extra tidbit. It's Into the Labyrinth. Fantastic, Saxon just keeps getting better and better, and the more I research Saxon, I think they've put out more albums, more new original material albums than Iron Maiden. So I became a fan of Saxon all over again, and here just recently, a couple months ago, 2-3 months ago, they put out another album called Arms. Great album too, not quite as good as Into the Labyrinth, but good stuff. Recommend you giving Saxon another shot. I mean, if you liked them in the past, you might give them a try again. Biff Pfeiffer's voice is stronger than ever. Sounds great. Okay, 1981. Band from the Castle Donington album. First time I ever heard of Riot. Fire Down Under. This is the Riot album to have. This is the best one of theirs by far. This was definitely one of my daily jams back in the day. Had to listen to it every day. I still listen to this album a lot. Highly recommend this. While we're talking about 1981, I want to give an honorable mention to this album. Yeah, Journey Escape. Yeah, because this album reminds me of fucking high school girls. And when I say it reminds me of fucking high school girls, I mean that literally. 82. Glenn Hughes and Pat Thrall, Hughes Thrall band. Fantastic. It's a bit more poppy, synthesizer guitar sound too. But Glenn Hughes, amazing vocalist. Also seems to be a bit of a prick to me, but maybe that's just my perception. That's not to take anything away from his vocal ability, and he's an okay bass player too. And I recently found a copy of this, or this actual one, at one of the estate sales I went to last month. So I was glad to find this because my other copy is pretty beat. We're up to 83 now. A band only I like, Heavy Petting. Back in '83, my friends, they would tolerate me listening to this every now and then. But I bought it and kind of searched it out based on reading something probably in Hit Parade or Cream magazine or something, Circus or something, that this band was being produced by Brian May of Queen. So it has, it's a very much, the new wave of Bridges heavy metal type band, but it sounds a lot like Def Leppard, Pyromania. So if you like Pyromania, you might give this a shot, and maybe there might be two of us that like this band now finally. Yeah. 84, Deep Purple. Shocked me when this came out. You know, the old guys came through. This sounded different than everything that was out at the time. I love the Hammond organ sound, you know, being piped through Marshalls or however he makes that sound, and it's just cool stuff. It's the Deep Purple Mark II lineup or whatever it is. It's that classic lineup. I mean, the most popular one. And I was happy to see a lot of people show this album. For 85, you know, I wasn't buying as many albums then, so it was kind of tough finding something for 85 for me. But I chose The Firm. You know, you got to give Jimmy Page and Paul Rodgers some props here. But I did listen to this quite a bit. I remember having this on a cassette, riding around a lot, and had a friend, you know, and when that song Radioactive would come over there, he would always crack me up because he would sing, instead of singing I'm a radioactive, he would sing I'm a sexually active. So it was fun, and we actually went and saw them in concert, and we had a really good time there. And so after the show was over, we got separated, and I ended up backstage, and I pretended to be a roadie for a while, helped load up some equipment. That was fun and memorable. Took home some souvenirs. Here we go, Tesla. Yeah, it's a great band, you know, kind of underrated, I think, you know, but easy come, easy go, you know, getting better, you know, there's a lot of good songs on here. Modern Day Cowboy, Changes, Little Susie. You know, like I say, he's getting a little bit leaner this time, this late in the 80s for me. School, college, and family and everything was just right around the corner for family, and we just kind of threw a wrench into everything. And of course, 87, Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. Much said. 88, Jane's Addiction. I mean, things are really starting to sound different, change music-wise and everything, and this was kind of the future of music, or rock and roll for me, anyway. A different sound. I love the whole vibe and everything. It was a lot of coolness going on this record. 89, I don't think anybody will pick this one, but enough's enough. This is to me, this album is greatness. You know, it's like pure power pop. I mean, but with I get, you know, it sounds sort of like Big Star to me, you know, and you're probably thinking what, but it's just recorded better, you know, so it has a bigger, heavier sound. But these are just pure pop songs. That's what I think when I hear it anyway. It's a lot of fun. I think they suffered a lot from their image here, the peace sign, the hippie stuff, you know. So I think it probably got a little bit more about image rather than substance. Yeah, like, why don't you give this a try, anybody? If you find this in a dollar bin or something, man, I'd definitely spend $1 on this, but you know, it may be hard to find because it's 89 release, and that's so late in the record days, or the original record days, I guess. Well, that's my choices. You know, it was a little bit tougher than I thought. You know, I'm sure my opinion will change in an hour, tomorrow, whatever. I'll probably have completely different picks. But I enjoyed this a lot. You know, given me a chance to listen to some of these records again that I haven't listened to. So, appreciate the thread. Talk to y'all later.